What's going on, guys? Great day to be alive, boys. We get to talk about some superchargers. I'm Daniel, Wilsonandcars. Today we're going to talk about the VMP Gen 3 versus that new Gen 5 3-liter Whipple, and what you should be looking for and what you should probably buy for your application. Now, we're specifically talking about the 0304 Cobra platform or anybody that does a 4-valve swap. This is not pertaining to the Coyote or the GT500, which in cases, all this stuff is pretty well different. So, let's jump into it. The 2.6, the new VMP. Not a whole lot of results out there, guys. Not a whole lot of people talking about them. I'm not really sure why. I don't know why people ain't jumped on it. Back in the day, Jake Conant with a 2.3 went 870s. With the 2.3, guys, they're an automatic. And then now we got a 2650. That thing's got to make more power than the 2.3. Anyways, 2650, something that I really like about it. It's a very efficient blower, and it can turn a whole lot of RPMs. What I mean by RPMs is that the blower can turn somewhere around 22,000, 24,000 RPMs. I'm sure some people are spinning them even harder than that. Over on VMP's website, they are showing a combination for a pulley of a 4-pound and a 2.6 upper. So a 4-pound lower with a 2.6 upper. Put that in retrospect. If you was to turn that car 7,500 RPMs with that pulley combination, you'd turn almost 25,000 RPMs, 24,807 to be exact. So I'm not sure. There's nothing on their website that says, hey, you can't turn this blower past or that combination past certain RPM. So I'm going to assume people are going to start turning these cars 8,000 RPMs, which is what they need to be doing. If you're going to run a blower like this, the 2650 or the new Gen 3, you guys really need to be turning these 4.6s 8,000 RPM. So if you don't have an aftermarket ECU to take full advantage of this, I don't know what you guys are doing, man. You just don't know what you're doing. So the 2650, if you've got a car that doesn't have a Transbrake on it, if it's a stick shift car, if it's 93 octane, stick with the 2650. It's going to be the car for you. If you're wanting to impress your friends and for a ride and really give them that violent hit, you're going to want to stick with that 2650. The 2650 is going to have more of a violent hit on the low speed than the Gen 3 or the Gen 5 3-liter is. Now, I don't have a Gen 5 3-liter, so I can't say that, for sure. But going from what I know from like the 2.9s and the 3.4 stuff like that, they just do not hit on the bottom end like those VMPs do. A buddy of mine's got a 2.3. His car hits violent as hell when you get on it, and it's a lot more violent than this. This car here, when you hammer down on it with the 3.4 on it, it doesn't. Everybody that rides in it, they're like, "Oh, cool, wow." But I mean, the car moves fast, and you're hauling ass, but it doesn't have that feel. So if you're trying to impress people with them in a ride along or something like that, 2650 is where it's at. Another thing is that the 2650 is going to run extremely cool. I know that they did a test on it, and I believe they did a full pull, and the car only picked up like 10 degrees on a pull on the dyno. So it's not a real world test, but it's on the dyno. I only know 2 cars really that have that VMP 2650 that I can find any information about. I don't know if people just aren't posting because they're not making good power or they're not getting good results with them. I don't know why you wouldn't be getting good results with them. If you're not, you need to find you a new tuner. You need to look around because those blowers should be working really well for you. The car that I'm talking about, there's one on Facebook that I've seen. A company built this engine for them. It's an 8-to-1 compression engine. It has some comp cams in it. They were running 22 pounds of boost through this thing on an E85. Now 8-to-1 is really too low. If you're running E85, you need to be at least 10-to-1, guys. I'm at 9.5 now. I'm getting ready to build another engine. We're going to do 11.5 compression on it. That car made 790 wheel horsepower on 22 pounds. And I believe that was on stock ECU too, so that means more than likely he turned it below 7,000 RPMs. And I really think that this 2650, if you've got camshafts in it that can take advantage of it, you need to spin these things up higher. It's just today's world, man. I mean, the technology for the Cobras have finally advanced good enough to meet with the Coyotes and the GT500s. There for a while we were lacking. The blowers just weren't there. Now, The other car I think is called, his name is Rick Kanakis. I don't know if I'm saying your name right, man. If I'm saying it wrong, I'm sorry. But his car made somewhere around that 720, 730 mark. I don't know the exact number because I forget what he told me. And it may have made just a little bit more than that, but I know it was no more than 740. He also runs nitrous on that car, and that car went 930s on the bottle. I'm not sure how much nitrous he was spraying through at that time. Now on the flip side, we've got the Whipple. So if you're going to get the Whipple and you want to impress your friends with dyno sheets, that's where you might want to go, is lean towards that Whipple. The Gen 5 has already made over 1,000 wheel horsepower, which is mind-blowing because just 5 years ago, hell, just last year, you just couldn't have gotten that kind of power unless you really had a 3.4 or 4 liter and it was a full-on race car build and you were just going out. It's just not something you would drive on the street. Whereas this, streetable. I mean, it's a good deal, man. It's amazing what we've accomplished now. It's crazy what Whipple's been able to do with their rotor design, where they've changed their rotors, and I think their tolerances and stuff like that are closer together nowadays as well with the cases. The case is another big difference too. If you're gonna run a Transbrake and you want high dyno numbers, that's another one. The Transbrake, if you got a high stall car, the Whipple more than likely is gonna outrun the TVS right now. If they come out with a Gen 3R, that could change. I know right now the Gen 3Rs give the Whipple a good run in the GT500 Coyote category. But the Whipple right now, as I see it, the Transbrake, if you've got a Transbrake, you're gonna start launching the car with the automatic and all that good stuff, go with the Whipple. That'll be a good one to go with because you're, like I said, they're only making 1,000 wheel plus horsepower, and that's on a 9 to 8 to 1 compression engine with cams. So somebody that does, a full-on build with ported heads and does like 11 to 1, 12 to 1, 13 to 1, something crazy, and it's all-out race car deal or something. I mean, somebody's gonna make 1,100, maybe 1,200 with that Whipple. It's pretty crazy. The RPMs on the Whipple, if they haven't changed yet, I haven't looked it up for the Gen 5 because there's not a whole lot of information out there. But on the 3.4s and the 4 liters, stuff like that, 15,000 RPM rotor is what it is sustained. That's as much as they want you to run at sustained speed. Now you can run it up to an 18,000 max, and I know some people that run it past that, but once you go up more on these Whipples, the heat really starts getting at it. I mean, the heat really starts building and you're gonna lose power for what you're really gaining. So you gotta balance that out. Now, the reason why I keep saying Transbrake versus non-Transbrake is because I'm gonna insert a clip down here in the description below. I want you guys to go check it out. It's Jake Conant's car. His car was a 4.6 with a 10.5 compression motor. It's either 10 to 1 or 10.5. I think it's 10.5. And it had L&M cams in it with Fox Lake ported heads. It had the 2.3 liter TVS on it. He was leaving off idle and that car was running 870s. 870s. Later on, he switched over to the Whipple 4 liter. And what you're gonna notice in that video is that when he switched over to that 4 liter Whipple, he was trying to leave off idle again like he was with the TVS. You're gonna notice the car stays a lot flatter. It doesn't wanna pick the front tires up, and it just doesn't look like it's getting out of the hole real good. And the car only went like a 1/10 quicker, I believe. I don't have the time with me right now because I haven't watched the video in a while, but either went the same time or just a 1/10 quicker than the 2.3. And that car made well over 100 horsepower more than the TVS car. He made 750 to the tires what he made with the 2.3 liter TVS. And then you're gonna notice that in that video, he's gonna go on and he's gonna start launching the new 4 liter off the Transbrake. When he starts launching that car off the Transbrake, it picks up dramatically. The car starts going like 830s. So I believe that the Whipple is going to be just like that. The new Gen 5 is going to be the same way. If you're using a Transbrake or you got a converter or something that's flashing somewhere around 4,500 or higher, then the Whipple is going to do the deal. It's going to outrun the TVS in the current state unless they come up with the Gen 3R. It'd be great to know if anybody from VMP is watching this, which I highly doubt. But if you are watching this, I would like you to comment down below and let us know, let everybody know, are we going to get a Gen 3R for the Cobra? I'm really curious. Now on the price, The 2650 as it sits right now with the GT500 throttle body from VMP with their GT500 elbow, you're going to look about $5,100, $5,200 is what it's going to cost you to get that combination right now. The Whipple, on the other hand, if you get the crusher kit and all that stuff, you're going to look about $6,100. It's a big difference. But like I said, I do believe somebody will hit 1,200 with that Whipple eventually. And I do think now that the blower technology has caught up on the 4.6s, that the 4.6 is every bit as capable as the Coyotes and the GT500 stuff to go out there and run times. Right now, the Coyote cars, if you watch any of the factory stock guys, they're running in the 7s. You know, the Copo cars, the drag pack guys, the Cobra jets, all that good stuff. The ones out there with the Whipple, they're 3-liter Whipples, and they're out there running 7s, and they're on limited pulleys. If they could do whatever they wanted, they would be well deep in the 7s. There's no reason that you cannot run 7s with either one of these blowers. It might be a little bit harder with the 2650. I would say you probably gonna run, somebody going all out right now with just a 2650, I'd say you could probably get to an 82, 820s, 830s, and about a 3,400 pound car. And the Whipple, on the other hand, I think you could probably get down to 790s if it's all out build race car. I really do. If you're running Transbrake and all that, I really do. If they come out with the Gen3R, I believe you could do the same thing with the Gen3R. So I'm hoping this information helps you guys a little bit on what you want to decide and what you want to get. If you're going to do street car, you're going to do 93 octane, stick with that 2650. You're going to be more than happy with it. I would skip over the 2.3 unless money's tight, and then in that case I would probably lean towards 2.3. But if you can save up a little bit more, I would skip that 2.3, go straight to the 2650 to be well worth it. And I believe that it's probably going to have just as violent of a hit as the 2.3, maybe a little bit less, but probably pretty damn close. And yeah, that's really all I got for you guys. Also, the new Whipples and stuff like that, the old ones, if any of you guys come from the old Whipples, they used to get pretty hot on the IATs. The new Whipples are not getting this hot. They're pretty well neck and neck with the VMP stuff now. And it would be real interesting if we can get a class where those two could go at it. Maybe like at Mod Nats possibly. You know, maybe we can get Whipple or VMP to throw a little bit of cash in a blower class, all blower class, and whoever gets it, you know, gets a little gift certificate or some sort to one of those places. Be a good idea. Anyways, guys, I hope this all helps you guys, and I'll talk to you later.